17 films in, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has decided to shake things up a bit. Not only do they have their first female villain in the hopefully Rule 34 proof role of Hela, portrayed by Cate Blanchett, who is seriously rocking the goth elk dominatrix look and seemingly loving every minute as she wonders if she should nibble on the scenery or not. Sadly, for seemingly the millionth time in the MCU, she's yet again just a dark version of the hero who was on screen for roughly 10 minutes, leaving me to wonder if you can truly call a glorified cameo a villain. Secondly, we have our first LGBT character in the MCU in Tessa Thompson's permanently wasted Valkyrie named Valkyrie. At least according to the press releases she is. If you can find the slightest hint of it, then please let me know when or where this happened. I know the MCU is pretty solidly chaste, but why mention it if you're not going to do anything with it? Oh, right, because then the film wouldn't get released in China or Russia, or any one of a number of countries who ban any film with an LGBT character or theme. Aside from that, this is arguably the second best film in the MCU after Captain America the Winter Soldier. Possibly the best depending on my mood and or blood alcohol level. Because where Winter Soldier was a 70s political thriller with someone occasionally running around in his pajamas punching people with a glorified dustbin lid, Thor Ragnarok is by contrast an 80s buddy movie. I mean, in theory it's about trying to stop Blanchett from chewing all the scenery and therefore destroying Asgard, and killing everyone she can see in her quest to find someone to help her wash her hair. But this movie doesn't really care about her, or her sort of helper Scourge, played with some depth by Judge Dredd with some stupid triangles on his head, so I probably won't mention either of them again. Instead, I'm going to talk about the 80s soundtrack, which not only does the Guardians of the Galaxy thing with its 80s pop songs, but it's also borrowed John Carpenter's old keyboard and, I swear this is true, a song from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory of all things. But it does seem that after the two weakest films in the MCU, Taika Waititi, best known for low-budget films, in particular What We Do in the Shadows, one of the best vampire films of recent years, who also cameos as Korg, a rather optimistic talking pile of rocks, seems to have deduced the solution to the problem of what to do with Thor. You go all out with his silliness and goofiness. I mean, this is a character from Norse mythology who was literally only brought into Marvel so that the Hulk could have someone to fight, and as a result has been slightly underutilized as nothing more than a walking pile of muscle who could probably have sorted out both Avengers movies in about 10 minutes if he'd been allowed to do his thing whilst, according to Tony Stark, wearing his mother's drapes. But in this film, all of that silliness has been embraced and given a light tongue-in-cheek feel. It reminded me at times of a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy sequel and the Lord of the Rings in others. Waititi also seems to have fostered an interesting attitude on set, with allegedly 80% of the dialogue being improvised, which is interesting when you consider Marvel is getting a bit of a reputation for straitjacketing directors to conform to their corporate viewpoint on what they want to see. Just check out what happened on Ant-Man to see what happens when directors get ideas above their station. Back on Thor Ragnarok, Taika Waititi is making the most of Hemsworth's comedic timing and talent, which comes in great when he's chatting with the Hulk or Jeff Goldblum, who's playing Jeff Goldblum with some toothpaste on his chin. The character is blue in the comics, but Taika is apparently one of the 42 people who remember Earth Girls Are Easy. The fight scenes, especially those with the Hulk, are really well done. The film did make me chuckle with a great cartoony look, and what passes for the narrative kept moving forward. And hell, it even makes Loki interesting for once, and I could genuinely see this as some sort of over-the-top Saturday morning cartoon. I mean, what's happening with Thor and Loki and what's happening with Asgard are so far out of step that you could make a pretty good case for them to be split into two completely different films with minimal changes on either side. Maybe they're staying together for the children. But that aside, I did find a lot to like here. I mean, the baddies don't pose a threat and their henchmen who are supposed to be unstoppable killing machines look like they've been taken out by my script, Grenlin. Enough CGI to make this a CGI movie with very little effort, and heroes who never seem to be in danger of anything more serious than a slightly dodgy haircut. But that's just par for the course in a Marvel film. Take this as a popcorn blast of 80s wonder and you're gonna have a great time. And it's one I'm actually gonna go back to see in the cinema a second or third time, and I never do that because, well, I've normally got next week's releases to deal with. And I definitely think you should see it. It's not a perfect, flawless masterpiece in the way that Mad Max Fury Road or Blade Runner was, but it's still a damn good, fun time. But what do you guys think, and what is your favourite film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, this has been a Dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe.